Hey, welcome to episode 131 of Credit 101. In this episode, we're going to talk about your rights when dealing with these debt collectors. So, in the last episode, I told you guys we were going to talk about the FDCPA for this episode because if you guys just look up the FDCPA and look at the rights and things that the debt collectors can and cannot do, then you'll know we have so many different rights. We have certain rights and when they can actually call you. It's a certain time period where they can actually call you. They can't call us at midnight, y'all. They cannot call us at 6 in the morning. They have to call us within certain time frames. Also, they cannot harass us by calling us back to back. They can call us 20 times in one day. The FDCPA was put together. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act was put together to help us. It was put together to help us because debt collectors are just doing whatever they wanted to do. Another thing that they cannot do, they cannot say that they're going to sue us when they actually don't even have the right to sue us. So what I always tell people is know exactly what they cannot do and use that against them. So if you know what they can do and what they can't do, you can use this against them to tell them to stop collecting on the debt and also stop contacting you altogether. I had to do this with so many of my debts, and in the past, I had debts that I never paid. I'm just being honest. And at the time, I just couldn't pay it. But we have certain rules. If they wanted to sue me, they could have just sued me. But they chose not to sue me. Now it's past the statute of limitations. But now um, I want to say now, but at the time too, these collection companies actually got the debt and they reached out to me. And I sent them the validation of debt letter that you can find on my website for free. It'll have the dispute letters at the top. I sent that to them and I asked them for so much information that they just say, you know what, I'm not going to mess around with this lady. And I want you guys to do the same thing because that can stop them from calling you. And we have new regulation too where they're able to email us now. They're able to leave us voicemails now. They even able to text us now. Do y'all know how irritating that is going to be? If you guys haven't already had that done to you, or these companies have not been reaching out to you, know that this stuff is irritating, but we need to know what our rights are because we can tell them to stop doing these different things. And if you guys know exactly what things they are violating, like if you send them that validation of that letter that's on my website, if you send that to them, you know how they say you have 30 days to respond. They send a letter, they have 30 days to respond to this debt, respond about this debt. If we don't hear from you, we're going to assume that it's yours. You're going to put in your credit report. It's the same thing. When I send you this, when I ask you to validate the debt, you have 30 days to validate this debt, or you cannot collect on it until you do provide for the validation. You cannot report it to the credit bureau. You cannot verify it. You know how you do a dispute letter to the credit bureau to remove a collection from your credit report. If you were to send out a request for the collection company to validate a debt, then they cannot technically verify that debt as accurate with the credit bureaus until they actually mail you a letter to validate the debt. So we need to know these different type of rules. And that's why a lot of times if you have a collection on your credit report, a lot of times you'll send that first dispute to the credit bureau, and then the next month you'll send out a letter to the collection company. I'll say wait like 5 days, then send a letter to the credit bureaus because what's going to happen is they still have to respond to you before they can actually send you, or they still have to respond to you before they can actually validate the debt or verify the debt with the credit bureaus. So that can be like a sneaky way of actually getting that account deleted. And don't forget, you guys, if you have problems with these collection companies, you can also go to the CFPB website where you guys can file complaints, which is really good. And then you can also do it on the FTC website, and you guys can technically sue these companies for damages. Remember, I had to sue Midland because they was reporting a balance that was not correct. They were not actually validating the debt. And when I sued them, they knew they was in the wrong and they didn't care about it. They said, hey, let's just settle this. Like, we're not going to go back and forth. I don't care what's on your credit. I don't care this and that. We're going to settle it because that's what we normally do once we get lawsuits. That's why I tell people to go ahead and sue. Now, we have to get into this debt validation. So let's go ahead and check out this debt validation. Don't forget, you can get it for free on my website, Rickita.com. So definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys in that episode.